Hi, everyone. Welcome to Throat Chakra Thursday. I'm coming at you live in Iowa today. I have never been to Iowa until now, but we came and got a brand new puppy. I would love to see all of your guys' puppy pictures. I will post our sweet baby angel. Her name's Teuta. It's an Albanian warrior princess name. And then we've got our other dog, Lorik, and it's just so fun. And we're at my friend Kelsey's parents' house, which has been amazing. It's like being at my parents' house, and I'm just like, life is so easy at parents' houses, you know? But I'm in a new space today and so excited to talk to you all about the number one thing holding you back from speaking. And here's the thing, it's kind of a tough pill to swallow, but the thing is yourself, right? There's no other mystery. And I'm going to break down like 3 thought patterns or limiting beliefs that I see my clients struggling with, that I see those of you here in this group struggling with, and in other Facebook groups, like these 3 limiting beliefs that really are just signs that like we're not believing in ourselves, right? That we're our own limitation. We're the ones holding us back from moving forward, taking action, hitting that live button, showing up consistently in our businesses, and that sort of thing. So if you're watching the replay and you're like, or you're watching live, let me know what limiting belief you have that's holding you back from taking the stage and really sharing your message. Because you see, here's the thing. The 3 that we're going to cover are, first, no one cares about what I have to say. Put in a 1 if that's you. The second one is like, people don't like me, or they don't get me, or they don't understand what I do. That's number 2. And then limiting belief number 3, and you can put a 3 in the comments if this is you, is I'm no one. I'm not an expert. Or maybe you have some combination of the 3 of these. So I'm going to break them each down and tell you that I've struggled with all 3 at one point or another. So it's definitely not something you're alone in. And I admire all of you that are going to be courageous enough to put in the comments which one it is that you struggle with, so you can show us all that we're not alone, right? That this is totally normal, that we are the ones that hold ourselves back 99.999% of the time. And getting in and like changing these beliefs is what my goal is today, right? To show you why you don't have to let this limit you any longer, so that you can fully show up on camera and on the stage eventually when COVID's over and we can all go back to speaking on stages. You don't have to worry about these 3. They're going to be taken care of. Let me take a drink. See, at the parents' house, you get Sprite. Okay. So believe me when I say that you really do have a worthwhile advice and an eager audience that wants to learn from you. And I really want to help you overcome these beliefs so that you can finally share the message that's in your heart. So I firmly believe that everyone's capable of being an engaging, powerful, amazing public speaker, because really all you're doing is sharing your beliefs. And sometimes we just need a little bit of like confidence and practice to do it. So let's talk through limiting belief number 1. Is this one where we think, oh, no one cares what I have to say, right? Like I'm not important enough, or I don't have a big audience. There isn't anyone who's going to really stop and listen anyways, right? Have you felt this way before? And here's my thing about this belief is everyone starts somewhere, right? You have to start where you're at now, accept it, and say, hey, yeah, like we're building, we're growing. This is just the beginning, right? Because we all have so much time. I know sometimes we're like, no, I have to do everything quickly. I have to like be the one. I have to do it, go, go, go. But in truth, we all have so much time. And especially when you live in like the present moment and you're no longer thinking about like the past or what the future holds. You're just truly present in this moment. You realize how much time you do have, and you realize how many people are looking to you as a role model and as someone who, if you're in this group, it's very likely you have ventured off the normal path of life and or looking to get out of that corporate job and really follow your dreams, which I so admire, and so do so many other people. You're definitely not alone. And so when you have this thought, right, that like no one really cares what I have to say, I shouldn't be talking about myself. This is also when this one comes up, is when you think, okay, right, they care about the information I'm providing, but they don't care that I'm in Iowa right now or that I got a new puppy. I know those of you watching this video do care, right? You're like, oh, that's so great. Megan got a new puppy, right? Like, and so does your audience care about the personal connection that you know. So I think a couple weeks ago, I did a video on a Tuesday training on the know, like, and trust factor, which really encapsulates 3 very powerful persuasion principles. So if this isn't intuitively sinking in that like people do care what you have to say, and they do want you to talk about more personal topics outside of like just your field of expertise, people do want to know you, and you want to build that liking and that trust, right? By disclosing more information about yourself, from humanizing yourself, from not being a Wikipedia page. So refer back to that video for some concrete strategies. But today, since I'm breaking down these limiting beliefs, what I wanted to do is talk up to you guys all about one of my very favorite TED Talks. This by Drew Dudley, and it's called Everyday Leadership. I'll drop the link in below after the talk. And in it, he says, if you can change one person's understanding of the world, understanding of what they're capable of, understanding of how much people care about them, understanding of how powerful an agent for change they can be in this world, then you've changed the whole world. Because yes, there's 7 billion people in this world, and there's 7 billion understandings of the world, right? The way I see the world is very different from how you do. But if you can change my mindset, change one little thing like I'm trying to do in this video, one way of interpreting yourself and your lived experience, then you've really changed the whole world. And it's why I absolutely love being a speech coach, is because I love seeing the ripple effect that each one of my clients have, and know that I had like a role in making more ripples and more patterns of change throughout the world, bigger than I could do by myself, right? I love this ripple metaphor. And because of all of this, my starting point for any speech is that it just has to change one person's mind, right? One person's perception of themselves or their understanding of the world. Just one person, not like the entire world, not even the whole audience. Like, it's great if everyone who watches this video, either now or in the future, changes their mindset. But I know that it'll at least change one person's mind, and one person's way of seeing this, that's enough for me, right? Like, it's great if it changes more people, but to get yourself over this paralysis that comes from thinking that no one cares what you have to say, think about the one person that really needs your message. And so yesterday in Soul Speakers Academy, one of the speakers that I'm working with, and so for those of you who don't know, I founded Soul Speakers Academy. The 3rd cohort is going to be I think it's going to start like the 2nd or 3rd week of October. So if you want, I'll also drop the waitlist link so then you know about it. But the reason I bring this up here is because one of the things we were talking a lot about yesterday, in what can really help when you have a difficult story to share. A lot of us do have really difficult stories from our past that are very instructive to our audience and to other people who need to hear that story to help serve them, right? And so I was talking about how, like, I feel like I've gone up to the mountaintop, right? Like, I have peeked into the universe. I have seen what there is to see, and now I've come down, and I have a duty and an obligation to not only share what I've learned with each one of you here, but I'm also writing a book that's specifically for people that, young women that were in the same place I was in my early 20s, right? That I know that I have that duty and obligation to say, like, hey, like, there's this whole other way of living, right? Where like you don't have to numb yourself out, like you can feel your feelings, like all the things. And like what I do when it gets hard writing or when it gets hard sharing the story, and what I advise my clients to do is picture that one person. And if you can't see that one person clearly yet, picture yourself, a younger version, right? What's the one thing you would have told yourself like 10 years ago? Like if you could travel back in time and tell yourself 10 years ago something different, or 15 years ago, one thing, what would that be? And that's what you should speak about. And that's what should be in the front of your mind whenever this belief comes up that no one cares what you have to say. Because I know for me, and like what Drew Dudley talks about in this TED Talk, Everyday Leadership, he calls them these lollipop moments, that there are these moments in life where someone comes into your life and shows you a whole new perspective, a whole new way of being that you didn't know before. And through these lollipop moments, like that's what makes life important. And the more lollipop moments you can share with others, the better life gets, right? And the more exciting it is. So when you have this limiting belief, really overcome it by visualizing the one person you know you need to reach, or the one, or yourself from like 10 or 15 years ago. So let me move on here. Say hi if you're watching live or watching the replay. And let's talk about this limiting belief number 2. Because this one is like probably the one that I feel the most. And I know comes up for everyone at some point in time. And there's slightly different variations, like people don't get me and people don't like me, right? And so for me, I share this with my clients all the time too, is I have at my core, is like very deep seated from childhood. My core wound is this likability complex, right? Like the mean girls in grade school are the voices that are sometimes still in my head. And I have to be like, wait, that isn't of me. I'm separate from that voice. And people do like me. And it's also not that important if people like you. Right? What is important is that you're out there and you're sharing your story and you're speaking your truth. So the flip side of this is like, or like the, people don't get me side really stems from this idea that you're too unique, or your message is maybe like too much, too woo-woo, too much to share. And so if that's you and you feel like people don't like you too, you just haven't found your people. Right? Like the issue here is not your message and it's not you. It's really your audience. And I know I say this a lot, but like your speech isn't about you, it's about your audience. And you have to shape your message to who that audience is, right? So if I was speaking to CEOs right now, I would tell like Fortune 500 CEOs, traditional business, bullshit stuff. Like I would be using very different language and very different vocabulary. But knowing that I'm speaking to primarily female CEOs that are heart-led entrepreneurs and leaders, truly living their purpose and their message and their work and through the services that they provide, I know that these limiting beliefs come up, and I put my own spin on them to talk to you all about them in a way that you'll understand, because it's really not about me. I use myself as an example because I'm the best case study I have, but also keeping in mind then that like if some people aren't getting you, they're not your people, and you don't need to waste a lot of time continuing to talk to them. So I came up with this example that like if you're going to talk about the healing power of crystals at like a local like parent teacher association meeting or something, maybe those people aren't going to get you, right? It's a little off the mainstream. Or if you're going to go talk about crystals at Toastmasters, those people might not get you either. However, if you gave that same speech at like a new age bookstore in your community, you're going to find the people that get you, right? And so you have to put in the time to looking for where the people are that are going to get you and are going to like you are at, and then finding them and meeting them halfway. So it's important to keep in mind that when you chose to become a speaker, you're choosing to share what's best for your audience. Speaking really isn't about you. You're and the way I conceptualize it, you're really just the transmitter of information, right? Speaking isn't about you at all. So it doesn't matter how likable you are. It's really you're here to share this message, and you're just the conduit. right? You're the person that's on the stage speaking the message, but it's not really of you. It's just through you, if that makes sense. So you can really overcome the second limiting belief by strategically choosing your audience and looking for places and speaking opportunities that are going to have people who get you, that are going to attract the people who like you and who want to be part of your like inner circle, your belief system. I'm just going to check for comments really quick. Okay, seeing none. I will move on. So, third limiting belief. Let me take another drink. And I don't know if you guys can see, I've got Crookshanks, the cat. If I tilt it this way, see? You can see the little kitty over there. Third belief. I'm no one. I'm not an expert. This comes up for just about every one of you in this group. You think no one, like, I don't have any credentials, Megan. I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know. And here's the thing is if you feel that you have something to teach, a story that's going to inspire others, or some message to share, then you really do have a responsibility to yourself and your intuition to share it. So like I was saying a couple minutes ago, I've had that spiritual awakening. I've gone up to the mountaintop. I know what my purpose in life is. And now I have the duty and responsibility to see it through and to keep trying, even when it is super hard. And by not sharing your message, you're really doing a great disservice for those who will benefit from it. So if we think back to that limiting belief number one, and my advice for overcoming that when you feel like no one cares what you have to say, and visualizing the one person who you know will be impacted by your speech, who you know like your speech and your message is life-changing for, keep that in mind with this one. And then you have to start to recognize the value that you bring now. And so to really help you understand this, there's a couple different types of value that you need to understand that speakers have. And so there's really 4 things that you have to do when you're giving a speech. One of these 4 things, and that's going to be valuable to your audience. And so the first one is you're saving your audience time, right? Like I hope through this video, I'm saving each and every one of you a lot of time and struggle by pointing out that these are the 3 common limiting beliefs that come up again and again and again when you want to be a speaker, so that you can work through them faster, so that you don't let one of them hold you back, right? You can also save your audience money, or like increase their money somehow. Third is providing your audience some sort of pleasure. And so I know so many of you are in the wellness industry, and you're providing like either relief from pain or helping people have like these spiritual awakenings like I'm talking about. And that's really helping people find pleasure, find more enjoyment in their life. And then the 4th one is entertainment. And for some reason, I know for myself, I devalue the entertainment one, but like, I think it goes, think of all the, like, I love stand-up comedians. I love movies and music and all of that. And so if you're also increasing like someone's entertainment, if you're making them feel happier or giving them a beautiful piece of art that they're going to keep thinking about, then you're being valuable, right? So let me say these again. You either need to save your audience time, money, provide them some sort of pleasure, or entertain them. That's it. That's how you be valuable. And so this idea that you're no one or you're not an expert, I know each and every one of you watching this video and in my group can do one of these 4 things and have that lived experience. So that's the other thing to talk about, is that there's many forms of expertise and credibility in the world. Source credibility is one of the strongest forms. Source credibility is your lived experience and your personality that makes you powerful. It's not the letters after your name or all the certificates that you've done, or maybe if you just do this one more program, like you can really start where you're at and you're an expert for the perfect person. In yoga, they talk about this a lot, that when the teacher's ready, the students will come, or when the student's ready, the teacher appears. I think it's that one. But on the flip side, when you're ready as a teacher, your students appear. And I know this is true from my business, from all of the teaching I've done all over the world. When I'm ready to teach something, I automatically like it magically manifests, however you want to call it, students and clients that I know I'm here to serve. So I know that the same is true for each one of you, and that by recognizing the value you have now, you can override and like rewrite this limiting belief that you're no one and that you're not an expert. So let me just quickly recap these, and then I want to share a journaling exercise with each one of you for that I really like when I'm really like stuck in my head in one of these limiting beliefs. So the first limiting belief is no one cares what I have to say. And you can change this one by visualizing the one person that you can change through your message, right? The one person who can be impacted and who needs to hear that message, even if it's you from 10 years ago. Belief number 2 is that people don't get me or like me. And you really overcome this belief by strategically choosing your audience and knowing who you're the best fit for, right? Who are you like the ideal teacher for? And then find those students and clients. And finally, the third belief is I'm no one, I'm not an expert. This isn't like, you know, no one's going, it kind of goes back to the first one. No one's going to care. And it's really important to rewrite this belief by realizing the value you have now. And so that's a great segue for what this journaling exercise is. I love journaling exercises. Hey, I hope you're having a great night. I see someone just joined in. Take a drink. Okay, so step 1. In your journal, you make a list of all of the reasons why you're qualified and what value you can provide for others. For instance, if you've spent hours doing in-depth research and summarizing data on your topic, you're providing great value for your audience because you're going to save them the time of doing all of that research by themselves. Right. So if you've done coaching certificate programs, right? If you've had some amazing transformational life experiences, all of these things, that's what you do for step 1, right? Is you make this list of all of the reasons why you're qualified and what value you can provide for someone. You can even map it out by the time, money, pleasure, and entertainment, and make a list in those 4 categories. Second, make a list of everything you think you need to become qualified to share your message. What additional value would those things offer your audience? So if you think like, no, I'm not qualified now. Like, okay, so what do you need to do to become qualified? Right? Like, what is it that you think is missing? And 9 times out of 10, as you're making this list, you'll see that it's not going to make a hill of beans difference, to use one of my mom's phrases. My inner Midwest is coming out while I'm in Iowa. It's not going to make a hill of beans difference if you wait until you have all of those other things that you think that you need. But that's really step 2 or step 3. So let me explain step 3. As you compare your list, is the audience going to benefit from where you're at now? Right? When you look at the list you made in number 1 of all of the value you currently have to offer versus the second list of all of the things that you think you need before you can share your message with the world, or before you're enough, before people like you, before people will care what you have to say, before you're good enough, is it really going to make a difference, right? Is your audience going to benefit from where you are now? That is the key third question to ask yourself, because I would be surprised if you didn't answer yes. Chances are you have enough value where you are in your journey today to benefit your audience, right? Maybe there's some trainings or degrees you want to pursue in the future to like strengthen your teaching and provide more value, but don't let the idea of your future self hold you back from providing value for your audience now. I feel like this is like key important moment. I'm going to put it on all of like the little quotable things on my social media channels. Don't let the idea of your future self hold you back from providing value for your audience now. because you do have something valuable in this moment to share with people who are in the same position you were in 6 months ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. There's enough lived experience within you that you can save people time or money or help them find a more pleasurable life or provide entertainment for them. And I really don't want any one of you to feel like you don't have something important to share within you. And so this is why I titled this video, The Number One Thing Holding You Back from Speaking, because I hope you can see that it really is you, right? It's really your ego, your different list of your limiting beliefs. If you have one that's coming up for you that I didn't get the chance to speak about, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear like what happens and what stories you have on repeat that really aren't serving you and getting your message out to the world, because I really do believe that your speech will change the world, that you have the message that your specific audience needs to hear, that all of the experiences you've had in life were for this purpose, were to share with others, to help them find more pleasure, to help them overcome the obstacles that you've figured out how to overcome, to share the teachings and tools and strategies that you've created or learned from other people. So, with all of that said, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday or whatever day it is when you're watching this. Let me know in the comments if this was helpful for you. If you have other limiting beliefs that are coming up, I would also love to know that. And I will be back on Thursday with Throat Chakra Thursday. I'm super excited to be here with you all as always, and I'm gonna sign off of here. So I hope you all have a great evening.